So the next thing we need to do is, of course, because we've defined here this these secrets that we have here and this variable that we've defined here, we need to go ahead and create those in our GitHub instance. But first, before we can do that, we need to enable this service principal or create this service principal that we're going to use. So if we head over to Azure, and first and foremost we'll click on Microsoft Entra ID, we'll click on app registrations, we'll click on new registration, and we'll call it GitHub service principal. We'll leave everything else as default for now. Go ahead and click register. If you copy this client ID and you just paste this into your safe place on your machine, and then copy the tenant ID, which you'll also need. The next thing we'll need is a certificate or secret, sorry. We'll go ahead and click new secret, make that expire in 24 months. Let's give it a name of description. Go ahead and copy that value and we'll paste that in here as well. And the final thing we need is the subscription ID, which if we were to head back into Azure, click on subscriptions, and we can click on this subscription in question, and we can just copy this value here and paste that there. The next thing we need to do is we need to give this service principal, which we've just created, access to this Azure subscription in order for it to be able to successfully deploy the infrastructure. So if we click on add role assignment, we then click on privilege administrator roles. Now I would recommend not giving the owner privileges. So if you can get away with giving less privileges, please do. But for this example, I'm just going to select owner for now. Click on members, select the members, and I'm going to go ahead and search for the GitHub service principal we created. And go ahead and click on that, click select. Click on conditions, and we're just going to do not constraint, review and assign, and that should go ahead and create that role assignment. Once you've done that, the last thing we need to do is we need to just head back into Azure and then click on resource groups. We're going to create a new resource group, ensure that we've got the correct subscription, and we're just going to give it a name of A365 demo NodeJS IG, and then we're going to go ahead and click on review and create. Click on create, go to the resource, copy the name of this resource group, head back into Azure, go into our organization, click on repositories, click into the repository in question, and then I'm going to go into settings. I'm going to then click on secrets and variables. I'm going to first and foremost create a variable. I'm going to create a repository level variable. I'm going to paste in the name of this resource group I just copied, and if you head back over to your workflow, as you can see, we've named this variable NodeJS _RG. So I'm going to paste that name in here, add that variable. I'm going to head over to secrets. I'm going to first and foremost create a new Azure secret with this Azure subscription value. Paste that in there, head back over to my VS Code, copy that value I copied earlier or pasted earlier. I'm going to paste that, and I'm going to add this secret in there. The next one we got to create is the Azure credentials. So again, this is the one we defined in our workflow over here, which will be used to deploy the infrastructure. So we've got to create this this object in a specific manner. So the first thing we need is the client ID. the next thing we need is the client secret, and I'm using kind of camel casing here. And then we'll need the subscription ID, and finally the tenant ID. And then if we head back over to Visual Studio and we just copy and paste those values that we copied earlier. And then once you're done, ensure that you've got your colons in place and you've got quotations both on the name or the key and the value, and then go ahead and add the secret. So once we've done that, we've got our secrets and our variable in place. We can then go ahead and we can commit these files. So if we go File, Save All, not this file. And we're ready to commit. So I'll go ahead and infrastructure, files in place. You might have more files here. I've made some changes, hence I don't see the same files as you, but go ahead and commit anyway. Synchronize those changes. Once those files have been committed and GitHub does pick those up, you can then click into this job and you can see what's happening. So as you can see, these are the steps that we've defined within our workflow over here. So we can see what's happening is the job's being set up. It's also checked out the code. It's set up our Azure CLI with our credentials that we created, or the object that we created, and then it's now attempting to deploy our infrastructure based upon the Bicep resources that we've defined in our Bicep template file with these parameters that we have defined. So let's go ahead and see what's happening. Okay, so that job has successfully been completed, and you can see the infrastructure has successfully been deployed. If we go ahead and head back over to Azure Active Directory, we click refresh, we can see that there is now a Node.js service plan. If we refresh again, we've also got Node.js app service as well. So if we click into that, we can see that there is a default domain that's been configured, so which is basically we've got a bit of a typo there, but that's fine, which is our the name of our app. So if we click on here, we will see the default app service screen, which will basically be telling us that we've got no code within the app service. Okay, and that's what that looks like. So as you can see, it's saying it's running and it's waiting for our content, which basically, as I mentioned, means that we haven't yet deployed any code. So in the next video, we'll go into the instructions and how we can deploy our code using our workflow into our app service.